The convoy reached the river just before sunrise, engines idling as a grey mist hung low over the water. What had once been a manageable crossing now looked like a living wall, wide and violent, carrying tree trunks, broken rails, and pieces of shattered road in its search. Soldiers from the multi-role bridge company stepped down into K&E deep mud, but sinking with every move, while officers studied maps already made useless by the flood. The air smelled of wet earth and diesel, and the sound of the current drowned out most conversation. Pontoons were dragged off transport trucks and rolled toward the bank, their metal skins cold and slick. Teams moved with practiced urgency, locking sections together while crane operators fought for balance on unstable ground. Orders were short and sharp, cut through with hand signals when the roar of the river swallowed voices. A sudden increase in current twisted the first assembled section, forcing the men to wrestle it back into alignment as water sprayed over them, sucking uniforms within minutes. As the first floating segment touched the river, the force of the water yanked it sideways, testing every calculation made the night before. Anchoring cables screamed under tension, and for a moment it seemed the river would climb the bridge before it was even born. Major Malik stood at the edge, eyes fixed on the struggling structure, then signaled for adjustments, more cable, a wider angle, heavier anchors. Slowly, almost reluctantly, the pontoon steadied. The soldiers paused only briefly, exchanging grim nods, before moving on to the next section, knowing this was just the beginning of a long fight against the river. By mid the sun burned away the mist, revealing the full width of the river and the scale of the task ahead. The partially assembled bridge stretched out like a fragile spine, rising and falling with the current. So it mixed with river water as soldiers worked chest deep, guiding pontoons into position while safety lines cut into their gloves. Every movement had to be timed to the rhythm of the flow, a second to a late and a section called slam sideways with crushing force. A warning shout cut through the noise as a surge rolled down from upstream. Debris slammed into the outer pontoons, rattling steel and sending vibrations down the line. One anchor dragged, its cable snapping tight before slipping unintermitted. The bridge shifted, groaning like a living thing under strain. For a heartbeat, panic threatened to spread, but the senior NCOS barked corrections, pushing men back into motion. Additional anchors were dropped, their chains vanishing into the brown water as winches screamed underlaid. On the far bank, medics waited with stretchers and crates of supplies that could not yet cross. The sight hardened the resolve of the engineers. Working in pairs, they reinforced joints, tightened pins, and adjusted spacing, fingers numb from constant immersion. When a pontoon finally locked cleanly into place, a brief cheer broke out before discipline snapped it shut. The river was still fighting them, and daylight was already slipping away. Night fell fast, and the river transformed under the harsh glare of portable floodlights. Shadows slipped across the water as generators hummed and insects swarmed the light towers. The bridge now reached more than halfway across us, but fatigue shaved in every movement, slower steps, heavier breathing, hands shaking as bolts were driven home. Orders were repeated twice to make certain cut through the exhaustion. Without warning, a deep crack leaked from upstream as a massive tree trunk slammed into the outer span. The impact twisted a pontoon loose, tearing it from alignment and dragging it toward the darknesses. Two soldiers were pulled off balance. Safety lines snapping tight as they fought the current. Alarms were shouted, and the entire operation froze for a split second before training took over. Rapiers were thrown, winches engaged, and men plunged into the water to secure the runaway section. Minutes stretched like horrors as the team bailed the river in near blacknesses beyond the lights. Finally, soaked and shivering, they restored the pontoon back into position. When the last pin dropped into place, a heavy silence followed, broken only by the rush of water beneath the bridge. At first light, the final section connected the two banks. As the sun rose, the bridge held steady, and the first relief vehicle rolled across us, its steers humming softly over steel that had been fought for inch by inch.